Hello and welcome to Samurai Turtles from Planet X. This exercise is just to get us started talking about word processing documents and learn some of the basic features of word processing documents. Word processing software such as Microsoft Word and more recently Google Docs are the most commonly used type of software. People use Word and Google Docs to create letters and newsletters and business cards and all kinds of stuff. Today we're going to use Google Docs because Microsoft Word doesn't work on our Chromebooks. So today you should have clicked on this assignment and opened up a file called Samurai Turtles from Planet X. Sorry, I'm doing a few teacher settings there. But you're going to click on this file, and that should open up a copy of that file just for you, so that only your edits are saved. So open that file. It's going to take you to a file called Samurai Turtles from Planet X. And let's see what that looks like. Here it is. It's a bit messy and needs some polish. So after we open the doc, I want you to change the doc's name to the correct name, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And enter. Now one thing I can see right away is that these margins are way too narrow. We want thicker margins. The standard is about 1 inch all around. 1 inch on the margin on the top, 1 inch margin on the sides, and 1 inch margin on the bottom. So let's go to File, Page Setup, and here's our margins. That's the problem. They're all set to 0.4 inches. Let's set all of our margins to 1 inch. And hit OK. There we go. That looks much better already. Next, there are actually two sections here. There's the introduction, and that's this part. And there's the plot of the movie, which is this part. It's a little unclear. We want to edit our document so that the information is clear. So let's put introduction on its own line. You'll notice that just like in a book, the text goes from left to right, and when it gets to the end of the page, it goes to the next line. Duh, right? But it's important to note that, the person typing this didn't hit enter at the end of the line. The computer just automatically moved to the next line when it ran out of room. And that's important because it's going to affect how this document updates itself as you change it. And plot on its own line. And just to make it even clearer, let's put a horizontal line beneath the words introduction and plot. Now in Microsoft Word, There's a shortcut for this. You just type in hyphen, 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 and hit enter. But in Google Docs, that doesn't work. No worries, we can just insert a horizontal line here. Insert horizontal line. Let's go ahead and indent each paragraph. And the best way to do that is with the tab key. The tab indents it the perfect amount every time. In the olden days, we used to do 5 spaces. But for a number of reasons I won't go into, it's better to use the tab. Because that tells the document, hey, this is an indented paragraph. And if we need to change something later, the computer knows, hey, this is a tab, an indent, not 5 regular spaces. Tab, 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 and I think that's it. Now, something is wrong here. First of all, there's a bunch of musical notes here. What the heck is that? Mr. Carter must have fallen asleep and his forehead pressed some keys that he wasn't supposed to press. That's obviously a mistake. And there's some weird text down here that looks totally out of place. It looks like the end of the article, but all of a sudden there's some random words here. And it's all messed up. I think what happened was this is supposed to be up here. So let's put it back where it's supposed to be. You can select this passage by left clicking and holding and dragging. That's one way you can do it. Another way is you can click at the beginning of the passage you want to select, and then hold the shift key and click at the end of the passage you want to select. And it's going to select the beginning and the end and everything in between. This is especially useful if you want to highlight a long passage. Maybe you want to highlight a passage that goes over several pages. It can be difficult to click and drag. The screen will scroll automatically for you, but sometimes it scrolls too fast and you select too much. What you can do is just select, put your cursor at the beginning, wherever you want, and then move to the end of the passage you want to select, hold shift, and click again, and it'll just select everything in between those 2 places. So now that this is selected, I'm going to cut it by pressing Control X. Now if you can't remember the shortcut, you can always come up here to Edit and select Cut. But the shortcut for cut is Control X. So Control X. Oops. Got deselected here. Control X. Put it back where it's supposed to be. How do we paste? We could go up to our Edit menu and select Paste. Or what's the shortcut? Control V. Control V. But why is it highlighted green? That looks ugly. Let's turn it back to normal text. Select our passage. The highlight color is green. Let's go to highlight none. It looks okay, except we have this word turtles is split up between lines. So let's click the delete key. There we go. Looks much better. The next thing in our instructions is to give this page numbers. Google Docs as well as Microsoft Word, it can automatically put page numbers at the bottom of all your pages. And if you're writing a really long document, you don't want to have to do that by hand. You want Word to do that for you. We're going to do that in a special section of the document called the footer. Every page, when you're typing normally, it leaves a little bit of room at the top and it leaves a little bit of room at the bottom. And sometimes it can be useful to tell the computer to insert things in those special areas. The special area at the top is called the header, and the special area at the bottom is called the footer. Normally in a book, the page numbers are at the bottom. The page numbers are in the footer. To edit our footer, we can go to Insert Footer, or we can just come down here to the special section at the bottom and double click, and it's going to let us edit the footer. And I could put the title of my book down there, and it would print the title of the book on every page in my book. What I want to do is page numbers. I want there to be a page number at the bottom of every page. So I'm going to insert page number. And there's a couple different options. You could have the page number at the top. We want the page number at the bottom. And then click out of there. Now what that should do is, that should go down through all the pages and put the page number at the bottom. Cool. But you know what? I'm not satisfied with that. In the instructions, it says to go ahead and put the plot information, all of this stuff, on the second page. Now what I could do is I could put my cursor before plot, and I could just start typing enter until I get to the second page. The problem with that is if I change something up here in the introduction, it might, if I delete a passage up in the introduction, that might cause the plot section to come up. When you want to tell the computer, hey, I definitely want this on a brand new page of its own, what you would do is you would use the Insert Page Break option. That says, hey, I want this part to always be on a new page. Lastly, I'd like to go ahead and put a picture of Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right here. Like in a book, sometimes there's a little picture off to the side and then the text wraps around it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this picture that I already found of Leonardo. Let's go ahead and, when you're using Google Docs, the best way to do it is to copy the image address. And then insert an image. It gives you some choices here. You could upload it from your computer. You could take a snapshot with your built-in camera. But we're going to use by URL. Remember, the URL is the address of something. Control V for paste, and there we go, select. That doesn't look very good. First of all, it's too big. Let's make it a little smaller. That still doesn't look very good. The problem is with the wrapping. Instead of inline, let's choose wrap text. There we go. That looks a lot better. But honestly, I'd like introduction still on its own line. So what I can do is I can just click and hold and drag this down. And it will adjust as we go. You can play around with it and see how it looks. There we go. I think that looks best. But I want to put some emphasis on this. Let's change that to, I don't know, 12, bold, italic. And, you know, usually in a document we have some consistency. All of the headings would be consistent. So I could go through all of the headings and I could change the font size to 12 and I could change it to bold and italic. But if I had a lot of headings, that would get tedious. So what you can do is you can highlight something and you can use this paint format button. Click that. And now I can use this kind of like a paintbrush. I can click and hold and highlight, and then when I release the button, it's going to change the font and all the properties of that text to the same properties of the thing that I highlighted before.